Today's Dashcam Diary of a Disabled with me, Chronically Happy. I'm on my way to my chiro as per usual. First thing this Monday morning, and I'm having some major bad stomach cramps. Like bad. My stomach hurts so bad. And I'm kind of backed up because I'm out of alignment. So I can't wait to feel a little bit better in a while. That's if my appointment's at 8:30. If it's at 8, I'm going to completely miss my entire appointment. But I know one of the days this week I wrote 8 instead of 8:30, and I just don't remember what day that was, thanks to my dyslexia, with numbers particularly. I have mathematics disorder. I don't know what its current diagnosis name is technically in the DSM-5, but whatever. I wonder when the DSM-6 is going to come out. If it hasn't already. Shoot, I don't even know. I haven't even kept up on my mental health knowledge via research. And if I don't see or read about it in a while, I just tend to forget it. Or mix up the order of things, and yeah, it's a thing. I always wondered why I struggled so hard in math, and it's dyslexia. And at one point, I learned about dyslexia in school, but I didn't seem to think or recognize that I had it. But thankfully for my dad taking us to the library all the time to go check out books and such, I grew up as such an avid reader. I read encyclopedias for fun. And medical encyclopedias for fun. I'm a nerd like that. I've always loved learning, but it has to be in topics that I'm interested in. And mathematics have never once really interested me at all. And I know the magic of what mathematics can do. The things that they can solve blows my mind. What I learned in college, I'm like, holy cow, you can learn this and you can do this and predict this with this? What? I was totally blown away. And learning that there's algebra-based chemistry or physics, and then there's trigonometry-based. What? It blew my mind. And I sucked at all of it. I don't know how I made it through certain college courses. I failed the same course, 2 courses, 3 times, because I could not wrap my mind around the mathematics and what formula to use when. And that's all the fun and knowing math and knowing when to use what equation. That's not fun to me. That does not define fun. But thankfully, so I've heard that there's usually if you're good in math, you do kind of poorly in reading and writing, and vice versa. That if you're bad at the other, I don't even know which one I started with. My mind's already dyslexic, turning things around. What did I just say? If I don't write it down, it's harder for me to retain what I just said or wrote. I've got to write it down. I've got to look at it. And that's where I really struggled in my Navy training, because it's not something I could tangibly see. And I had to just imagine what it looked like in order for me to remember it. But without having a picture of what it really looks like, it blew my mind. I was blown away that I was actually able to retain information long enough to get through the Navy as well and move up in ranks. Because we had to answer a 200 question test along with having the good evals and such in order to move up in rank. And it all depends always like the magic number, and I miraculously would get it the third time around. And that's what happened in college. Like, I could not wrap my mind around certain topics and certain things, and I struggled hardcore. Like with, in particular, economics. It was the hardest freaking class ever. I took statistics twice, and I think I even took trigonometry 2 to 3 times, like one of the first classes. But I also learned trigonometry in the Navy in my job because I had joined a program, Job Strand 9, and there were 9 different jobs included. That's why it was Job Strand 9. But they were trying to test a program to see how well certain people, like, if they could take 8 weeks of math because they scored astronomical in other areas on the ASVAB, like I did, like with pattern recognition. And that's what made me a good analyst, because I could recognize patterns, and I excelled in that. And I'm betting like the majority of my Intel population that I worked with, I'm betting the majority of us all did great in that area, because that's what the recruiters would recommend once they read the results of the ASVAB in different categories. And in the ASVAB, I could also recognize a pattern. If I were to take it like 2 to 3 times, like I would definitely recognize the pattern. And that's what the key was in order for me to pass my courses and exams and such. Pattern recognition. I had to take the same thing a couple times just so I could memorize the answers, so I could pass it the next time. And sometimes it takes me a couple times, but I was, the pattern recognition. That's why I did so well at my job. It's just recognizing the numbers and the patterns and such, that you can identify things off the top of your head. And that's what made me really good at that job, is thanks to my autism, ADHD, and my learning disabilities in certain areas like math, which I scored poorly on the ASVAB, which brought down my overall ASVAB score. So my ASVAB score wasn't great, and like the majority of my ASVAB, cohorts, co-workers, they scored way better on the ASVAB than me. A lot of them did. But I did move up in rank relatively quick, even though I had to exam and test for it a couple times each time I moved up. Like, I got out of boot camp at an E2, or I went into boot camp as an E2, and it also takes time in rank, so there's a certain time frame you have to spend in that rank before you're eligible for advancement. So then you would test for the advancement, and then you'd go by your evals, and you have to have a certain amount of evals in each rank in order for you to be really eligible in all these different areas, and it makes you a good military member, sailor, analyst, whatever you want to go by. I'm part of all of that. I identify as any one of those things. That's how I did so well, though. Pattern recognition, memorization. And what would always trip me up is they would change the damn questions. Even though it's the same answer, they would change the wording of the question, and that would throw me off every freaking time. And I would go against my gut feeling. And I got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I have a 50-50 shot out of these 4 multiple choice questions. And I just gotta go with them. But the problem with the military, they had more than 4. There was like 5 or 6 answers thrown out during multiple tests. So, yeah, that would throw me off. It would throw me off so bad. Because, I have to look at it. I've got to look at it in order to remember it. Because it's like that picture memory. I have to take a picture with my eyes in front of me to understand what is going on. That's how I learned how to mask and kind of cover up a lot of my learning disabilities. I would just pretty much copy others. I really wanted to excel in, though, is I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be good at creating things, but I admit it, I'm more of a follower. I've got to see it and recognize it in order to like really replicate it. I still had a hard time making my hands do what I want them to do with the fine motor skills with precision art and like technical art. Because I took art classes in high school and I took several different category type art classes in order to see what I would be good at, because I loved art in general, but taking the introductory art classes, those were hard. Just getting the base knowledge of freaking the history of art and like blah 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 blah, all the things. But I'm just one of those people, I have to see it for the first time before I can do it. I don't picture my own original art in my head. I guess I would see more in words and writing than I would in picture form art, because I can write very well. I don't have, that's where I've excelled at, and that's why it would always like throw me off when I take these like, job placement tests, even the ASVAB, until I took it, to recognize how they, pick people for their jobs. And I'm like, oh, well, I recognize it because, well, I took it a few times. So if I experience something repeatedly, it's easier for me to retain. But that also kind of goes against me on why I got PTSD in several areas of my life, because I've experienced one too many times, and it just gets to you after a while. So, for instance, some of my PTSD was with coworkers, and so I've never had very good relationships with coworkers ever since my Navy job. I've always had a problem with certain coworkers because of certain personality traits. And the older you are in life, the more those personality traits are ingrained in you. Unless you purposely make a choice to try to change some of your characteristics or personality traits, but they're kind of ingrained into you. So it's really, really hard to do things that you're just not used to. And it's easier just to fall into complacency and just to get used to how you are. And, and then get the attitude of like, either you take me as I am or you leave me, it's one of the two. And as we age and get older, it's harder for us to, a lot of adults just don't continue learning. But the thing with ADHD and being on the spectrum is I want to try so hard to fit in and be relatable and be a social, like it's ingrained in the human DNA to be social creatures. And the society is just dictating how people respond and react to each other. It's crazy. Mental health is multifaceted, and so the brain is an amazing thing, and it can do so much more than we even understand. Anything is possible, people. Just keep believing in yourself. Believe in life. Believe in happiness. Do you believe in happiness? I do. I believe in wanting to be happy. So just be. Just be happy. It's hard when you have mental illness, mental health problems. We have to work harder. We have to work extra. And a lot of it is poor self-image. How do you talk to yourself? How do you treat yourself? How do you treat your body? Do you treat it with kindness, or do you put things in it that hurts it? Like, I ate some stuff last night that I know is hurting my stomach this morning. It's trial and error, and I'm tired of feeling like this. So it's up to me to change it. So if I don't want my stomach to be hurting like the way it is, I better not be eating the stuff that I've been eating. is stopping you? Who is stopping you? Is somebody else stopping you, or is it yourself stopping you from doing other things? These are the things I ask myself, or I try to remember to ask myself when I'm thinking about who I am, who I want to be, and am I practicing those things every day that I want to do and I want to be? I've been kind of in a little bit of a rut lately with creating any content on YouTube. I just haven't been really into it, and I have some personal things going on right now. And you guys know I'm usually always pretty candid and open about this stuff, but I'm having a hard time processing this. I haven't really had anybody to talk to, so this is why I need to feel my feelings and get it out. There should be no buts. I shouldn't make excuses for myself to get out of talking about it. It's not that I'm scared to feel the feelings, I just don't want to feel those feelings right now. But I need to. It's better than to hold it in. And I say this all the time, it's better than holding it in. I need to practice what I preach, and I wasn't expecting myself to really get to talking about it, but I need to. I reached out to a friend recently, and she basically kind of shut me down because she got used to being okay with treating people this way, and I understand she's lashing out because she's hurting and she's going through a lot of physical illness right now. And so she's doing the most common thing that everybody does when they're hurting. They lash out and hurt those because they're hurt. I don't know why she isn't processing things. I can't answer that. But she's not dealing with her feelings. And it sucks. I'm attached to this lady, man. But I can't have this codependent relationship with her right now. I can't let her control my feelings, but what she said really hurt. It's the way she worded things, and I could just hear her the way she wrote it. I could hear her voice because of our most recent in-person experience of argument. I feel like we just couldn't. She didn't tell me everything, and she's hurt, and she's hurt by me, and I think she's still hurt by the argument that we had, because she refuses to process any of those feelings, any of them. She is stuck in her own demons right now. And I understand that. But that doesn't make it hurt any less to me, because I don't deserve to be treated this way, no matter what, by anybody. And I should not allow it to happen. And so my only response was, and I love to kill people with kindness, but I have to also lay my boundaries down. And so I responded in the only way I knew how, in my kind of hurtful way, was sorry for asking. You should never apologize for somebody else's feelings. I should not have. I'm not trying to accuse anybody else of doing this. Excuse my English. I'm really upset, and I wish I could tell her how upset I was at her. but I can't right now. And that gives me a little bit of PTSD, because when you're not allowed to talk and say your feelings at the person that needs to hear it the most, she's just too stubborn and she will not listen, especially right now with the way she is. I'm just so upset by this, and it's been in the back of my head for like the last 4 to 5 days. And I've been kind of trying to wallow in my sadness and just grieve. I'm trying to grieve. It's a process of grieving, because you're losing a friendship in a way. I've lost a friend for right now. I don't know if I'll get her back. But with the way she spoke to me, I will not freaking keep reaching out. I haven't even tried to reach out, but the more persistent I came over the last week and a half, and I gave her a little bit of space. But the way she responded made me feel like I was harassing her. I had to leave her the F alone, is what I took away from that message. And it hurts. It's the people that you know the best that can hurt you, because they know the buttons to push and they know what to say to push you away. And that's why it's hard to be vulnerable with others, and it's hard to let people in to become really good friends. And so it's a red flag when I hear people say they don't want friends, they like animals or whatever over people. Those are the people that you have to show the most kindness to show them that you are not like everybody else, and that there is still empathy and compassion and humanity, because I do have it. For strangers, for people I know, for family, for friends. So if I'm getting scalded for reaching out and caring about you, nah. You're not gonna push me away and be a dick like that without hopefully feeling a little bit guilty about it. And I hated to throw that out there, but once you know, I'm like, sorry for asking. That is my only response, and I will not reach out first for her again. I almost unfriended her off Facebook. That's typically what I do to prove a point, like how pissed off I am. So, but it's taking me a lot longer to do it this time, because I don't want to. But if she is going to push me like that, I want to push me out of her life, well, that's what she's going to get. A removal, unfriending on Facebook. And then once she realizes it, whenever that may be, I'm sure she'll let me know. And that's when we will be duking it out to either save our friendship or say goodbye for good. So, I'm worth fighting for, just as much as she's worth fighting for. She just doesn't know it yet. But I'm not going to fight for this kind of treatment, so I've said it. I have felt these feelings for it. I now feel like I have the power to unfriend her because she needs to know how much I hurt. Don't talk to me like that. You don't treat somebody that you care about that way. So she honestly isn't caring about anybody but herself right now. And so she can just have herself by herself. Because that's obviously what she wants right now. So she's going to get it. Bye. I love you, Amy. If you watch this, which I don't think you have the time to, or the empathy to really care about anybody but yourself right now, because you do need to take care of yourself. But I love you, but I have to help protect myself and my feelings, and I'm gonna have to just close this door on the friendship for now. So if you think I'm worth fighting for, come reach out, please. I love you. But I'm not gonna have any more memories of you treating me this way. And that was the whole point of my conversation. Repeat experiences. I've had to say goodbye to several of my friends in my life because I don't deserve to be treated as nothing other than a queen goddess that I am. But I'm humbled, you know. I'm humbled. I'm humbled every day. I love you all. Keep fighting for what you believe in, and please just believe in yourself. Feel those feelings. It really helps. And now I'm empowered to do what I'm going to do. And I'm going to just go live my life now and go take care of me and see my doctors. Peace out, y'all.